I am not like a professional. I want you guys to know I'm not a professional at any of these things. Everything I'm doing is a pure experiment. I'm getting hot. Okay, I gotta take this off. Okay, it is February. It's a beautiful time to start thinking about gardening, especially if you live in plant hardiness zone 7. So if you live in New York or New Jersey, you are close or in zone 7. And the reason why it's a zone is because this is like when the season starts to, whatever happens in this area is basically pretty uniform. I'm probably not explaining that right at all. But anyway, so it's February. I know that if you live in New York, you're thinking to yourself, what the hell are you talking about? At least my car is frozen under a pile of snow right now. I'm definitely not thinking about gardening. Now is the time. You want to think about where you're going to put your garden, what you're going to grow, or you want to think about joining a community garden, which is another thing that I am going to be doing. I signed a lease and did an agreement for a community garden in St. Albans, Queens, and I'm basically building up a community garden. So let's talk about this community garden and why this kind of ties into becoming more environmentally friendly. Well, number one, this is as organic as it's gonna get. Like, you grow your own damn food, not to mention how much money it's gonna save me. Like, one little seed, you put it in the ground, and basically that seed creates a big shrub of like peppers for like 7 months, 8 months, or whatever, 5 months. It depends on how warm it stays, and like the way things are going in New York City, it's warm until like November. So anyway, my point is that now is the time to start thinking about gardening, and I'm gonna tell you guys like how all of this started for me and where we are today with the garden and how all that ties into being environmentally friendly. But I'm not gonna go too deep. The first thing that happened was that COVID basically started, and there was a food shortage, and even though I had money to buy food, I would go to the supermarket and I wouldn't see what I wanted to buy. So I was already trying to learn how to be more environmentally friendly, and I thought, you know what? This sucks. I don't even know how like broccoli grows. I don't know how it grows. Like, does it grow in a tree? Does it grow in the ground? Do you have to dig it up? Does it grow like a carrot in the ground? Like, I didn't know. And it made me so uncomfortable to think, like, I don't know any of this stuff. And I've basically given up all of my power to this unknown source who's supposed to feed me, who couldn't feed me right now, even though I had the money to buy the food. Like, that was creepy. So that's why I started gardening. And when I started gardening, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I definitely have way more notches up my belt of plants that I've killed than plants that I've actually grown from seed to, you know, like a full-fledged thing you can eat. So I didn't know what I was doing. So the first thing I did was I bought a masterclass by Ron Finley. So masterclass is an app. I will link it. I'm gonna link a lot of stuff down at the bottom. If I start getting annoying by saying link, just comment below and let me know so that next time I'll say link a lot less, or maybe I'll just link less shit. But Ron Finley's class was the first gardening class I took, and it was just so like fundamental, easy to follow, and like I really digged his personality because he's like me. He just like curses like a sailor, and he's really down to earth, and he just makes you think like, stop thinking this is too hard. It's easy. You can do it. It's natural for humans to grow their own food. We should know how to do this. I like the way he said it. He also made it really clear, like, by growing a garden, you basically print your own money. You can hear him say it when you get the class. When you make your own garden, you basically, it's like you're growing your own money. Like, I know mama told you, you know, money didn't grow on trees, but technically it does, because if you go in the supermarket to buy yourself peppers and onions and basil and thyme and all of those things, that's money right there. So if you grow it yourself, you're saving your money, or you're growing your own money basically. Anyway, so after watching Ron Finley, I was really just like so motivated to grow my own garden, and I started with a ladder garden on my balcony, and then when that wasn't enough for me, I basically took up the driveway in the apartment that I'm living in, and when that wasn't enough for me, I went out to the sidewalk and I grew some stuff there, which it's kind of illegal to do that in New York, but I mean, I haven't gotten in trouble yet, so whatever. And then I really started getting like this itch to go plant a garden in the parkway, because Ron Finley was like, I went and planted a garden in the parkway, and I was like, I'm gonna go to a parkway. And I realized that I could probably get arrested, and the parkway that he was talking about wasn't the same one. So I had to basically figure out how to how to get a garden. And I learned about this beautiful program called Green Thumb, which is a subsidiary of the New York City Parks Department. And again, I will link that below. If you live in New York City, you should definitely be taking advantage of this program, either by becoming a member or by opening up your own garden with your local community. And I found Green Thumb and I was like, wow, this is great. I'm not going to go into long details. I'll just link a video like on this side or this side. I'll link a video so you guys can know what Green Thumb does for the community and how Green Thumb works in terms of getting a license, creating bylaws, and all these things. So anyway, I got the garden. I got the garden, I built up a community, and it's going great. You know, I mean, all of that happened last year in October. We were able to, in the middle of COVID, have Zoom meetings and organize ourselves and get the garden. Now, here's the thing. When you get a garden from Green Thumb, they do a lot for you, but they don't do everything. So it still requires some money up front. You know, you still have to get like seeds, because they do give you seeds, but not everything. So I found out about a grant, and the grant was from Partnership for Parks. So I want to tell you about this grant because it has like a 50-50 chance of succeeding at winning the grant, which I thought were pretty great chances. So for the first time ever in my life, I applied for a grant, and I basically like sat on eggshells, crossed my fingers, and said all my prayers. I was like, Father nuestro que estás en el cielo. I was just like, please let me get this grant. So I was really nervous, and that was back in November that we put in for the grant so we can have money for the garden, and so the money wouldn't have to come directly out of our pockets. So what ended up happening was that I found out in February that I actually got the grant, which is super exciting because $1,000 of free money is amazing. Now, we do have a responsibility to Partnership for Parks to do exactly what we mentioned in our grant, which again, I'm not going to get too deep into it. If you want to know more about it, just let me know, because this garden has a lot of goals this year. We plan on experimenting. One thing is to grow an abundance of food in a really, really small space, although the garden is huge. The other goal is to basically build a community, because right now we only have about 10 members. So we want to build up the community and have more members so that more people can have exposure to fresh, organic, free food. I mean, that's amazing. Don't you think it's amazing? I think it's amazing. The other thing that we're going to be doing is building a butterfly sanctuary. In the midst of all of these things that have been going on, I was able to stumble across one of these really great books. It is called Gardening for Butterflies. I didn't think that gardening for butterflies was going to be anything different. Like, I thought, put some flowers out and like they will come. And it's really not a matter of build it, they will come. It's really more of a very delicate process, because butterflies are like the divas of the animal kingdom. These bitches are very delicate. Like, they want specific flowers so that they can drink their nectar, so that they can lay their eggs and breed and sleep. They're really particular about what they consume. And what's interesting about them being these divas is that they're also a really great barometer for climate change. Any little hiccup in the climate and these things decrease in population drastically, which is a huge, like I said, a barometer for what is probably to come for the rest of us. Because if these things die, then all the little friends and foes that are in their network also die. So it's interesting. That's one of the things we're going to be doing this year. And then I want to talk a little bit more about the square foot gardening method. So when I started gardening, again, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I basically germinated seeds, which is basically means that you get that seed popped open and you get the little root that comes out of it. And I started germinating all these seeds, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And Ron gave me a lot of confidence to just go for it. And I basically, you know, I did carrots, I did peppers, I did squash, and I did it in a space that was about like a foot wide and like 17 feet long. It's on a driveway, so you guys can pretty much imagine what that's like. I'll share a video on that planter box that I built so you guys can see it. I think I'm gonna link it on this side or this side. I forgot what side it is. Anyway, I'm gonna link it, but I didn't know like how close I could put carrots together. Like, does one seed give you one carrot, or does it like give you a bush of carrots? I didn't know. And then when I planted the peppers, like the bell peppers in the ground, I had so many of them. I didn't know if I should put them like an inch apart, 5 inches apart. Like, I kept thinking about all those like crops that you see when you look at farms, and I'm like, I don't know, that just doesn't seem right. So I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I went for it, right? But this time around, I really want to be more, after watching it all grow, I realized I could have put like 5 carrots next to my cucumbers, because the cucumbers grew on the fence and the carrots grew on the ground, and they didn't really take a lot of space. So I got this thing. This thing right here is basically 1 foot by 1 foot, and it's called the square foot gardening method. And so each of these circles represent a different type of seed that could go in here and how far apart you can put them. So like carrots, for instance, are red, and they could go literally, you could put 4, 8, 12, 16 carrots in 1 square foot. So, and I found out that carrots actually grow like in a collection, so that's pretty freaking amazing. Other things about square foot gardening is that it requires less watering. So you're being less wasteful with water, less wasteful with space, because you're basically filling up the entire area. And you also get to easily know like how much you can put in what place. And then one of the things I've learned along the way, which again, I'm not going to get too far into gardening, is that you have to change and like what you're growing in the same space. So you can't keep growing squash in the same soil every year all of the time. But this, again, I'm reading all these books and I'm learning all this stuff, so you guys won't have to. And one last thing, before you guys go, I want you to stay tuned for the next video, because it's going to involve, hold on, wait a minute. What's in this package? I got this package a few weeks ago, and I've been so nervous because this package right here is full of every kind of seed you could possibly think of. Medicinal seeds, crop seeds, herb seeds, everything, just in this one little package. So what I'm going to be doing in the next video is setting up for the garden. Stay tuned, my dears, or you'll miss out on all of the fun.